It's too expensive. It's too expensive to leave versus what you would save and the regulations that you wouldn't have to go through and all the bullshit with all the permits and all the... What California does is over-regulate everything. They get as much government involved as possible. They suck as much tax money out of you as possible. And then they still leave the place a mess. They still have homeless people everywhere. It's still a disaster. It's still a woke show of virtue signaling at every level of the government. Still. Like no course correction at all. They're going further and further into la-la land. And you're like, Jesus Christ, you...
The storm clouds over California may have cleared, but the outrage hasn't. Joe Rogan and Mel Gibson are still fired up, and they're aiming directly at Gavin Newsom. On a recent episode of the Rogan podcast, the two joined forces and unloaded, accusing the California governor of massive failures and unanswered mistakes. This wasn't a polite discussion or a carefully worded critique. It was raw, unfiltered, and relentless. If you're looking for honest political fire without filters or guardrails, this is exactly that moment. So hit that subscribe button because we're diving straight into it.
State is just so poorly managed. It's so frustrating and confusing. And then he gets on TV and pretends like everything's great. Mm-hmm. And California's the best. We have the best state. We have the most amazing economy. And like, you're out of your mind, dude. You've ruined this state. Like, personally ruined.
Rogan wasted no time going after Newsom for what he sees as squandered leadership. To Rogan, California should be a magnet for ambition, innovation, and opportunity. A place where people come to build something. Instead, he says, people are leaving in droves. Rogan himself packed up and left in 2020, frustrated by a culture where one wrong sentence could end your career overnight. And that frustration only grew. He argued that Newsom inherited a booming economy and slowly drove it into decline through reckless policies, surface-level politics, and image-first leadership. Crime rose, homelessness exploded, businesses packed up, taxes climbed. To Rogan, Newsom embodies everything broken in modern progressive politics. Presentation over performance, ideology over real people. And this isn't new. Rogan reminded listeners that during the pandemic, he repeatedly slammed Newsom for policies that wiped out small businesses across the state.
No one who is alive today had ever experienced a true pandemic. And I'm hoping that now that this is over, people are going to, recognize that some serious errors were made and not repeat those. That's the best you can get out of it.
So what do you tell those people?
Vote Republican.
For Rogan, the pandemic response was the breaking point that pushed him to seriously reconsider his political alignment. In his view, Democrats failed on every front. Lockdowns devastated small businesses, took a toll on mental health, and didn't even deliver the promised results. Schools remained closed for months, robbing countless children, especially vulnerable ones, of education. Rogan questioned the logic behind strict mask rules and prolonged closures, calling them political theater rather than science. He openly criticized the left for silencing dissent, dismissing debate, and treating disagreement like heresy. Newsom, he said, was handed an incredible opportunity and turned it into chaos. Businesses collapsed. Lives were disrupted. Freedoms vanished. For Rogan, the pandemic exposed something deeper than bad policy. It revealed what he sees as the core flaw of progressive leadership. More control, less common sense. And that anger didn't fade. He carried it straight into his criticism of Newsom during California's recent wildfire crisis.
Guy's like standing in front of all this stuff, and he's got a smile on his face, and he's talking about land use.
The development plans.
Watch this. Play this. Give me.
I was just talking to Josh Green, the governor of down in Hawaii, who had some ideas around some land use concerns he has around speculators coming in, buying up properties, and the like. So we're already working with our legal teams to move those things forward, and we'll be presenting those in a matter of days, not just weeks.
With a big smile on his face. Look at the little wiggle he does with his shoulders. Speculator, watch this. Talking to John. Look at this. Look at this little wiggle. It's excited about the possibilities of speculators coming in. And he's saying we're move forward. We're going to move forward on that. These people lost their home.
That's why Rogan is now urging Californians to rethink their political choices. In his view, Leadership isn't about polished speeches or staged photo ops. It's about action when everything is on the line. Rogan contrasted Newsom's approach with leaders from the past, like Arnold Schwarzenegger, who faced disasters head-on without excuses or spin. By comparison, Rogan says Newsom treated crisis moments like branding exercises. While families lost livelihoods and businesses shut down, Newsom was photographed dining maskless at upscale restaurants, enforcing mandates while quietly eyeing national ambitions. Instead of leading with resolve, Rogan says he chased headlines. And that's why this criticism cuts deeper than party politics. It's not red versus blue. It's competence versus performance. Californians don't need a polished politician, Rogan argues. They need someone who actually shows up when it counts.
Gavin Newsom talks about California. He's like, I'm very big on California, very bullish on California. California has all this industry. Hey, they're all thinking about moving.
Thank God.
The only reason why they don't move is because it's too difficult to move. If it was like every business could instantly pull up roots and replace everything and have everything running in a week at the other place, they'd all be.
Rogan didn't soften his words when talking about small businesses. He accused Newsom of turning California into hostile territory for entrepreneurs. Policies meant to help workers, Rogan says, ended up destroying livelihoods. Assembly Bill 5 reclassified freelancers and gig workers, crushing independent contractors and burying small businesses under compliance costs. Then came the $20 minimum wage, applauded publicly but devastating in practice, triggering layoffs, closures, and price spikes. Add to that a deeply flawed unemployment system plagued by fraud and payroll tax hikes, and Rogan's verdict was clear. Newsom didn't support business owners. He stacked the deck against them with red tape, broken systems, and hollow promises. California, once a symbol of opportunity, has become a warning sign. And Rogan still wasn't finished.
It's too expensive to leave versus what you would save and the regulations that you wouldn't have to go through and all the bull with all the permits and all that. What California does is overregulate everything. They get as much government involved as possible. They suck as much tax money out of you as possible. And then they still leave the place a mess. They still have homeless people everywhere. It's still a fucking disaster. It's still a woke shit show of virtue signaling at every level of the government. Still. Like no course correction at all. They're going further and further into La La Land. And you're like, Jesus Christ, you guys.
This is the frustration of someone who's reached the end of his patience. And many Californians, Rogan says, feel the same way. With all the sweeping regulations and headline-grabbing initiatives, you'd expect the state to be thriving. Instead, it's falling behind. Despite immense wealth, Californians face worsening conditions. Homeless encampments stretch across city blocks. Crime continues to climb. The cost of living is squeezing the middle class out of existence. Businesses flee to states with fewer obstacles and more predictable rules. Rogan's question is simple. What have all these progressive policies actually delivered? His answer is blunt. Bigger egos in Sacramento and a state drifting farther from the California dream. And now Rogan isn't alone. Actor Mel Gibson has entered the conversation.
Karen Bass have already proven their incompetence and poor leadership during the Los Angeles wildfires. Now, as we experience rampant lawlessness and civil unrest, it's never been more clear they're unable to respond effectively and responsibly during calamity. Whether it's sheer incompetence or outright malevolence, the reality is stark. California's in a state of turmoil, and I ask my fellow Angelenos, why are Gavin Newsom and Karen Bass still in office?
Mel Gibson didn't mince words. He openly called for Gavin Newsom to be voted out, and he meant it. His breaking point came during the chaos surrounding ICE-related protests. What began as demonstrations quickly descended into disorder, with looting, vandalism, and neighborhoods left damaged. Gibson accused Newsom of prioritizing political ideology over public safety. Instead of restoring order and protecting communities, Newsom, he said, looked the other way while violence spread. To Gibson, that wasn't compassion. It was negligence. Californians weren't asking for authoritarian crackdowns. They were asking for safety and leadership, But Gibson argued Newsom failed to deliver even that. Instead of fixing the fallout, Newsom escalated theatrics, even daring border official Tom Homan to arrest him.
Your hands off these poor people. They're just trying to live their lives, man. Trying to live their lives, paying their taxes, been here 10 years. The fear, the horror. The hell is this guy? Come after me, arrest me. Let's just get it over with. Tough guy. You know, I don't give a damn. But I care about my community. I care about this community. The hell are they doing? These guys need to grow up. They need to stop. And we need to push back. And I'm sorry to be so clear, but that kind of bloviating is exhausting. So, Tom, arrest me. Let's go.
That stunt, critics say, summed everything up. A symbolic gesture that solved nothing. Newsom, they argue, is more invested in optics than outcomes. Strip away the cameras and dramatic statements, and what remains is leadership focused on image management. His response to unrest wasn't decisive leadership. It was reactive damage control. Cities struggled. Property was destroyed. Trust eroded. And when pressure mounted, Newsom reframed himself as the tough guy. To critics, that's hypocrisy. If he truly cared, he could have worked with federal authorities to pursue real immigration reform that balanced fairness with enforcement. That would require courage. And courage, they say, is exactly what's missing. And Newsom wasn't spared by others either. John Voight added his own sharp criticism.
You're a fool, blaming Trump. What are you doing for this destruction of these animals destroying Los Angeles? Are you there, talking calmly with them, you fool? They would burn you down like they're burning the cars and the American flag, with no regard for humanity. This is not about Trump. This is about protecting the people from these animals and criminals trying to destroy us. And our police force, are they supposed to stand there, let rocks hit them and kill them? Who's going to save them? You? You're a disgrace. You're nothing but a lying dog for the hopes of becoming the president one day.
With a record like this, critics say it's hard to take Newsom's national ambitions seriously. California, a state overflowing with resources and talent, has struggled under his leadership. If he couldn't stabilize one state, they ask, how could he manage the country? Newsom appears comfortable shaping narratives, but less effective delivering results. His policies sound impressive on paper but falter in real life. Businesses leave, schools struggle, communities deteriorate. Real leadership, critics argue, isn't about speeches or viral clips. It's about outcomes people can feel. So when talk turns to Newsom as a future presidential frontrunner, critics see a warning sign. From Rogan to Gibson, the message is consistent. If he can't lead California out of decline, he has no business leading the nation. And voters increasingly are paying attention. That wraps up today's video. If you found this breakdown valuable, hit like, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.